I'm Frostfire 1987 and I once got called gay for walking a chihuahua. No joke. The rant today is obviously to go out on Resident Evil. Well, I mean, you can see that from the thumbnail and the title of the video, which is yet to be created, which is kind of weird, but it will be created. Now, Resident Evil, let me just start by saying, before you hate this video, before you click the dislike button, I'm talking about old Resident Evils. Resident Evil has a huge place in my childhood. And yes, I'm talking about the old ones mainly. But let me just start by saying, I'm going to go into a quick bit about what it means to me, okay? The first Resident Evil I ever played was Resident Evil 1 Director's Cut, and it had the picture of, I think it was meant to be Chris Redfield on the front holding a shotgun, but it looked nothing like him. It looked like some sort of weird steroid abusing crackhead. It didn't look right at all, but that apparently was meant to be Chris Redfield, although they later turned him into a steroid munching, rock punching monster. But that game was terrifying. The first time I played that, this is going to make me sound like a complete pussy, I had to get my mum to watch me. Bear in mind, you know, we're not talking about me being 17 years old here. I was 9 years old, just about to turn 10 I think, and I had to get my mum to watch me because I was too scared. And that part where you first come down the hallway and the zombie turns around, I can remember panicking and screaming, shooting, and my mum just sat there going, "That's 1 bullet wasted, 2 bullets wasted, and 3 bullets wasted. Well done, Sean." And I was so scared at the time, but I loved it. And a few months later, I actually plucked up the courage to play it properly, and I freaking adored it. Yes, the tank controls are awful. It's like when you look at a game through rose-tinted spectacles, or more like rose-tinted binoculars, i.e. the Tomb Raider games. I loved Tomb Raider, but when I went back to play them, I realised they're garbage and I can't play them for shit because the controls are broken as all hell. But it's kind of the same thing with Resident Evil. I loved it. Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, and then Resident Evil 4, I would say, was when it was at its peak. Now, the rant in general is about how it's just been completely fucked over. No other word or description can explain it. It's been raped. It's been raped. It didn't enjoy it, and it's now, you know, it's really scared, and it doesn't know what to do, and it's crying naked in the shower. The game has just been all out destroyed by Hollywood, and they've turned it into this sort of, I don't even know what it is. Like, I've played Resident Evil 5. I've played Resident Evil 6, and me and my cousin have this conversation every other time we see each other. Big up, Seb. How are you, mate? Even though you don't watch my videos, you bastard. We talk about this all the time because we used to play this as kids. We loved the Resident Evil games. We would swap them with each other on the PS1, and we both just adored them. And then when Resident Evil 5 came out, it was just like, what the hell? I mean, both of us we didn't know what to think about it. You could only hold whatever it was, 6 or 8 items in your bag, your inventory, whatever. It was just completely action-based. There was no suspense, there was no horror, there was no puzzles. It was all quick time events and punching boulders. It was just fucking ridiculous. They absolutely butchered the name Resident Evil. And then when 6 came out, I thought, okay, look, I'm praying to the Resident Evil gods. I'm holding out for something great. And, well, I just got shit on, and I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't nice. The game was fucking crap. Resident Evil 6 was even worse. I mean, the game starts you off with the option. It actually flashes up, no word of a lie, do you want to start the game with unlimited ammo? Now, if you have to start a game with unlimited ammo, 1, you're a fucking retard and you shouldn't be playing games. 2, no game should ever offer you unlimited ammo. The idea of Resident Evil was that you make every shot count. You make every bit of healing item count. You make every scrap of whatever you can scavenge count. And 5 and 6 just threw that out the window, completely pissed and shit all over the name Resident Evil, and it became crap. Yes, the tank controls were bloody awful, but they were playable, and I still found them fun. And that time when the dogs first jumped through the windows in the first Resident Evil, I nearly shat myself, and there's not many games that have made me fall off chairs, but that was one of them. And if you can imagine a little 9-year-old me just screaming when those dogs came through the window, I mean, I fully just threw the control on the floor and didn't know what to do. That game freaked me out, but yet something kept pulling me back in to play it. and I have a huge fondness for it. And it annoys me when these new Resident Evil comes out and you've got some Japanese marketing guy telling you, oh, it's great, oh, it's going to be the scariest, action-packed, most Resident Evil thing ever, and he's doing the jazz hands. Not that you can see me, but just imagine me doing jazz hands. Ta-da! There you go. And it's fucked. They absolutely fucked it, and it's just annoying because those first Resident Evils, even in the second one, when I completed it as Leon or Claire, you get that whole game, which would last a good long time. You then got scenario mode, and you could play it all again through, well, different scenarios. It would start you at the end of the game, and you'd work the way the other way. Enemies will be changed, you'd get new weapons, new costumes, things would be different, the story was slightly different. And incidentally, that's when Nemesis first showed up, and I remember when he burst through that wall. Well, again, I nearly shit myself. I'm probably going through a lot of underwear at this point, but the game was freaking amazing, and I loved it so much. Every single Resi up until 4. Well, actually, I say up until 4. When 4 came out, I was never into Nintendo. Okay, I was never an N64 guy. I was never really a Super SNES guy. I mean, I was always into my Sega Mega Drive. Then I had a Sega Mega Drive 2. I also actually have a Sega Mega Drive 2 in my flat now on my nice big flat screen, but it looks like shit playing that on the flat screen. It looks better on a CRT for some reason. But I was never into Nintendo. A couple of my friends had N64s, but I just didn't like them, and I was always a PlayStation guy. But overall, the game, there's just so many things that have been ruined in Resident Evil. But when 4 came out, I bought a GameCube just for that. Like, I had never had a GameCube or a Nintendo. You know, as I said, never been a Nintendo guy. But when I heard that originally it was only coming out for the GameCube, I ran to the store, and I can't remember what I traded in. I traded in some games, can't remember what they were. It was a long time ago. Not many brain cells left. Short-term memory, awful. Where am I? What am I doing? Why is there a microphone in front of me? Etc. But I bought a GameCube just for that. And I remember playing it, and me and my friends were sat in his shed, because this is when we were kids. We didn't have our own flats and houses to go and smoke and drinking. So we'd all sit around this guy's shed, this posh lad's shed. And we played it, and we played it, and we played it. And I can remember completing that game probably 5 or 6 times. To the point of where when you complete it and they give you like a machine gun with like unlimited ammo, and you could wear like a gangster hat and run around with a Tommy gun, and we had and rocket launchers with unlimited ammo. I did all of Ada's side quests, so side missions, whatever the hell, and that was when I think Resident Evil hit its peak. Resident Evil 4. I wasn't too fussed on the whole, you know, La Plaga, whatever it was called, like the bug thing, like a Parasite. I was more into the zombie side of things, but I thought that was fine, and a lot of the enemies were inventive. You know, the boss fights were creepy as all hell, and I really enjoyed it. And then when 5 came out, me and my cousin both went and got it thinking this is going to be brilliant, and I wanted to hang myself. It was awful. It was fucking horrible. You could only hold 6 or 8 items in your inventory. It was completely action based. It was focused on online co-op partner, and your partner, I mean, your partner may as well have been sat there licking a brick. It did nothing. Sheva or Shiva, whatever her name was, if you didn't have a real life person playing as your AI partner, and let me just remind you, the game will end if your partner dies. When you're in a gun battle to the death with all sorts of fucking hell's minions, you turn around and your partner's there running up against the wall, pointing at a window going, am I doing good? Am I doing good? Tell me I'm doing alright. No, you're doing fucking shit. Your partner's a fucking retard. If you're going to make the game AI focused to where your partner needs to be life and death by your side, don't make them have the ability to lick windows. They need to be sharpshooting geniuses, not fucking retards that are going to be running face pressed against the wall, and then the one time you need them to go up a ladder, they're standing there running against the wall with a sort of smile on their face, and you're clicking X, come up the ladder, come up the fucking ladder, and they're not doing anything. The game was just butchered. It was ruined. There was no sense of horror or just survival horror, and the name survival horror has been fucked over, because survival horror now is running around with a camcorder or running around trying to put your batteries in your camcorder. You can't attack anything, you're just running and hiding from enemies, putting chairs up against doors. It's all about, and I'm mentioning, you know, like Penumbra and whatever, that machine for pigs, and Layers of Fear, and all these things that are coming out, just churning and churning out, and all they are is just run and hide from everything, because I hate it when you can't defend yourself. Because if anyone was going to die and they're in a life-threatening situation, I can tell you from experience about this, you will grab anything hand to hand, whatever is near you, you will grab and you will try and jab it in any way you can, and it just annoys me because survival horror has been completely changed, and I think Resident Evil is part to blame for that. So 4 was at its peak for me. After that, it can just drown. It can be thrown in a bin bag and drowned, and I never want to see it again. And it just annoys me because it's part of my childhood. As I said in the beginning of the video, I loved Resident Evil. Resident Evil Nemesis, when you could create your own ammo types, and it was just fantastic. And it's been shit on. And the background footage you're seeing there is Resident Evil Revelations 2, because the only saving grace in these new titles is Revelations and Revelations 2. They're not groundbreaking, they're not adding any new features that haven't been done before, but they were fun to play, and I think they're starting to go back in the right track, because I think they saw that a lot of people were going for Revelations and Revelations 2. So they're the only two that I've enjoyed. 5 and 6, garbage. But Revelations 1 and 2, they're alright, you know, they're not great, but they're pretty good. I'm going to end the rant there because I can feel like my head getting really hot, and I don't want to kill someone, the first person that comes next to me, so I'm going to end it there. And thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. See ya.